Hello everyone, welcome to this week's very special Halloween edition of Telegraph Herald, More in the Score, presented by Dubuque Bank and Trust and Dubuque Auto Plaza. I am your host, Steve Spooky Ortman, alongside Jim Leitner. How's it going, Jim?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Doing well. Getting excited for Halloween. You gotta love it, especially now that I have a daughter going out doing some trick-or-treating again.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to eat all that candy that you're going to bring home.
I don't know. That's a good question. You can't let them have too much, right?
That's being a good parent.
That's exactly what that is, being a good parent. But speaking of spooky, crazy, scary things, the World Series just began, and I'm not kidding, folks. It's the Chicago Cubs against the Cleveland Indians. Give me your take on this one, Jim.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great series. You know, the Cubs have obviously had the best record in Major League Baseball during the regular season with 103 wins. But the Indians have been playing really well, especially in the playoffs. You know, they took out the Boston Red Sox, who were probably the favorite to win the American League, and then they beat the Toronto Blue Jays, who are playing extremely well too. So I wouldn't overlook the Indians. I know around here a lot of people are caught up in the sentimentality of the Cubs being in the World Series for the first time since 1945, and you know, trying to win it for the first time since 1908. But you know, there's a very good team on the other side of the diamond in the Cleveland Indians. So I think it's gonna be a great series. I think it could go 6-7 games.
Let me get your thoughts on this. I've talked to a few Cubs fans who have admitted to me that they're not even really going to be that sad if they lose the World Series. It was just that elation of getting over that hump and actually just making it there.
You know, I think I've heard that a lot too. I mean, but the thing is, you know, in baseball, it seems like your window of opportunity isn't always that great. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're in a situation like that, you really want to win it. You never know with injuries, contracts. There are a lot of, you know, chemistry can go wrong too. So, I mean, if you're in a situation where you have a chance to win the World Series and you're the favorite, I think you want to win it. But again, I think the Cubs are set up for the long haul. They're a team that I think are going to be good probably for the next 5 years at least. So getting to the World Series is a very good positive step, and you know, we'll see where it goes from here. But you know, I think when you are in a situation like this where you have a chance to win the World Series, you definitely want to win it because, like I said, you never know how long that or how wide that window is going to be for you.
Yep, should be a fun series. One long championship streak is going to come to an end. Now, as we shift gears here, focus on prep athletics here this weekend. State cross country meet. The big storyline for us here in the city. All three boys teams and all three girls teams here in Dubuque are going to Fort Dodge. Yeah,
I can't remember the last time that happened. It's you know, a pretty special time for all six cross-country teams here in Dubuque, and they're all. It's not that they just made it. They all have a chance to make it to the podium, I believe. You know, Hempstead boys are ranked number 3. The Hempstead girls are ranked number 4 in Class 4A. Senior is ranked 14th among the boys and number 9 among the girls. And then Wallard in Class 3A is ranked number 1 for the girls, and they're ranked number 8 for the boys. So there's a chance that all three city schools could make it to the podium, both on the boys' side and the girls' side.
Yep, and some talk a little bit. There's some area runners. I know Bellevue's got a girl that's right up there.
Yeah, Cameron Reeg she's been ranked number 1 all season long from Bellevue. She's a runner that looks like she's got a pretty good shot at winning the whole thing. But you know, in addition to the Hempstead kids and the senior kids and the Waller kids, those are all kids who could medal as well. So I think in every class we have someone who's got a chance to do some damage and, you know, come back with some hardware this weekend.
Sure, yep, we'll have all the coverage of that coming up this Saturday in the Telegraph Herald, as well as telegraphherald.com. Now, as we turn the corner again, prep football winding down. We have entered the postseason now in all 3 states. Wisconsin's well underway. Got a handful of teams still alive there. In Illinois, Stockton, the one and only team that can make it through. They've had a really impressive season. They're going to be hosting a playoff first-round matchup on Saturday. Their bracket could get a little tricky. In the second round, they could see a state powerhouse in Lena Winslow. And in the state quarterfinals, if they were to make it that far, they could see a team that is probably favored to win the whole thing, and that's Forreston, undefeated Forreston. But on the Iowa side of things, Class 4A, Western Dubuque Bobcats going to the playoffs. Great first year here in Class 4A football for the Bobcats. They're going to be visiting Cedar Rapids, Washington on Friday night. One loss, Cedar Rapids, Washington. And their only loss of the season came to Cedar Falls, which is a team the Bobcats defeated back in September at the Unidome. So that should be an interesting matchup down in Cedar Rapids on Friday night. Also going in Class 1A for Iowa area teams, Clayton Ridge. Pretty impressive season for them. They're going to the playoffs, 7-2 record. They're going to be visiting undefeated Denver, and the Bellevue Comets, district champs, are going to be hosting a playoff veteran team in South Winneshiek who went 7-2 on the season. Of course, the Comets went 9-0 and a great run to the district championship. Peter Kilberg, running back, having an unbelievable season, a very explosive offense for the Comets. I'm looking forward to being out there to covering that one on Friday night. And we're going to see how the football season keeps rolling along here. A lot of teams that have a good chance of going deep into the postseason, Jim, and that's something that seems to be the norm for us around here.
You know, it's kind of interesting. This is the first year in Iowa where they reduced the playoff field. You know, last year the field was twice as big, and I think there were some teams that made the playoffs, not across the state, who probably didn't belong in there. They cut the field in half, so I think you're going to have a lot better matchups in the first round. You know, last year I remember, you know, of all the classes, there was only just maybe a couple games that were decided by less than 10 points. So this is a great opportunity to get some more competitive balance in the playoffs. And, you know, these matchups for the first rounds of the teams, at least the teams in our area who made it, you know, there's some really good matchups. Washington against Western Dubuque, you know, you have 3 losses combined between those two teams, and then, you know, our 2 1A schools, there's only 2 losses or 4 losses combined on those 4 teams playing. So I think it's going to be a lot of excitement in the playoffs, and, you know, it's going to be an interesting road to the Unidome in a couple weeks.
Yep, so it should be exciting. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at THSportsFeed. We'll be following all the action for you. As well as check out our Facebook page at Telegraph Herald Sports on Facebook. That's going to do it for another episode of Telegraph Herald. More in the Score, presented by Dubuque Bank and Trust and Dubuque Auto Plaza. He's Jim Leitner. I am your host, Steve Spooky Ortman. Have a very, very happy Halloween!
Top news story of the day. Michael Myers comes to Haddonfield, Illinois in a few days. It's almost Halloween. Laurie Strode and your friends, your life is about to change forever. Too much evil out there. That's a cut.